What's up, everybody? We are back with another episode during the fabulous Austin Film Festival. I am so happy to be able to catch up with this next. He is a world traveler. We've had to reschedule a couple of times and all that, but it's been so worth it. By now, hopefully you already know, I am Lauren deLisa Coleman for the Inside series here at film.io. We're just racking them up from the Austin Film Festival, interview after interview, just for you guys. And I am now ready to bring you Stevan, Lee, and I've been practicing this for the last 2 seconds, Mraovitch, who is the filmmaker behind Holidays at All Cost, or in French, Les Vacances à tout prix, or just Vacances. And I want to ask you that, why it's not Les Vacances, but Vacances à tout prix. When I saw that this was playing at the Austin Film Festival, I had to kind of hunt him down because I was just fortunate enough to live in France for several years. And I know how important the vacation is there, les vacances. And so I just wanted to really be able to bring this to you guys because it's a lighthearted and fun, but very well done film. So Stevan, welcome to the Inside series. I know you probably have like crazy jet lag from flying here, there, and everywhere. But thank you so much. You've just come back from, I can't even remember now which country, but where you were, the film just won an award, right? Where were you?
Yeah. Actually, I was in Vienna for the Austrian Film Festival, and the movie won Best International Picture and Best Comedy. So we actually won 2 awards.
Just a little prize like that. Yeah. So congratulations. So tell our viewers what the film is about.
Absolutely. So the movie is about a loving father who wants to pay the first summer vacation to his wife and their son of 5 years old. The only problem is that he's too good and he doesn't know how to confront his boss who owes him money. So instead of confronting him and facing him, he will lie to his wife and find other solution to pay for the vacation. He will do silly jobs, very, very, I would say, funny, in a French humor type. And then, by doing so, he might maybe lose his family. But this, you will have to watch the movie to actually see it.
I think that's a very, very good setup. So, Stevan, so many different things about this film. Like I said, when I watched it, it just reminded me of watching, this genre of film on French television when I was there. When you watch, I think, of course, cinema in France is, legendary, but I think we think of it in more dramatic terms, right? But the whole comedy vibe to me was very surprising and very cool when I was there. And I think just doesn't get talked about enough. It is, how would you kind of describe it? Because it's not slapstick by any stretch of the imagination, but it is, I don't know, it has these kind of situation almost comedies of maybe what we would say are similar to television, maybe in the States, but it's drawn out over, film, right? Is that maybe one way to kind of convey kind of just the sensibilities around French comedy?
No, you're absolutely right. And what is very interesting, I had 2 very strong responses from audience about the movie. One, feel it a lot for the protagonist. So see it more, this movie, as a drama. And the others who actually really try to, want to come to see a comedy and enjoy and have fun. And they just go through the whole story in a more light way. And it's very interesting for me because I see the 2 sides of it. And it's true that people ask me, so is it a comedy? Is it a drama? I want to say it's a dramedy. I believe that life has both parts, right? Mm-hmm. To actually enjoy, I would say tough moment, you also have to experience life in a more light way. And it's funny because the movie was selected at Edmonton Film Festival in Canada, and they actually called me a few weeks ago and told me that I won Best Picture Dramatic. I was like, really? This is fantastic. I couldn't believe because this festival had movies 5 movies that were official selection at Cannes Film Festival. We had Berlin, Venice, and they told me, which made me very happy, that they saw the drama that I actually tried to build on. Because the movie starts with a real social class status. It's a working class father who cannot pay summer vacation to his family. But for me, I wanted to tell the story through more a light way, but having this social statement behind. When you don't have much money, how do you do to go to a vacation? You actually don't pay your rent, so you can afford 1 week in south of France. And this, I have to say that this start of the movie actually comes from a very personal experience. When my parents moved to France when we were kids from New York, my father was a scientist, and as we all know, researchers, don't earn a lot of money. So in the first years in France, we actually struggle. And my father was very sad to see his kids, playing outside alone with everybody who went to France, south of France. So he actually decided to not pay the rent so we could go 1 week in summer. So in one way, obviously my father was not a professor of yoga for nudists and didn't do all those crazy jobs. Like,
we have to put the disclaimer. That part is not accurate, because there's a little bit of shall we just say it's a little risque, some of the scenes there. That part's not. We're not Dad. We're letting Dad off the hook on that one. But the other scenarios, or at least the inspiration behind it, is fun.
Yes, absolutely. It's just at the start, and then keep in mind, I wrote that during the first national lockdown when it was the really big anxiety and stress in France. This movie, I can tell you, really helped me to escape all that, and I just wanted to put Frederick, the protagonist, in the most crazy, funny situation and see how he would get out of it.
I think that's just so. It's just so cool always to be able to hear kind of where the story came from as you talk to the filmmaker, to get inside of his or her mind. And for those who maybe don't know, and I learned when I was there, vacation is important to everybody. But in France, it's an art. Even, I don't know if it's still like this, today, because I'm going back to the early 2000s, but from what friends I had there told me, you start out with 8 weeks vacation, friends who I used to have work at Citibank, on Champs-Élysées, et cetera. And you're as an American looking at 8 week, guys, can you imagine 8 weeks of vacation, out the gate, and it's planned, as you have the summer one, you're already planning the winter one, skiing, whatever. But it's also not for some, but it's not only the elite are taking these vacations. It is the part of the culture that it is almost seen as wellness, right? To be, planning a vacation, even if it's small. So I could see why your father would feel that you were denied, because it really is part of the overall culture. It doesn't have to be expensive. It just is something that everybody does.
Absolutely.
I want to talk though a little bit about the diversity in your film, because I've also noticed this too. In France, we all have, I don't know, at least like I said, going back 15 years, I don't really recall seeing many women of color, right, from former French territories in Africa is usually who, the actor would be, but definitely men of color, right? And so we see, a man in this film as well. And so I'm wondering if you could speak to that, because I know that I don't know, I don't really feel like maybe diversity is discussed, or at least it wasn't in the same way that we discuss it here in the United States for obvious reasons. But there are elements of it in France that I saw that were just never really discussed. But it was well, yeah, of course we're going to include, like I said, only guys at that point. But they were always in the mix some kind of way. Maybe not the lead, but in there, right? So did you think about that as you created this film? Or, I was just kind of really curious about that.
Well, thank you for the question. Actually, yes,
You're welcome.
did. I did. So keep in mind, I was born in New York from a Serbian-American father and a Taiwanese mother. For me, diversity was always in my family. It was always in my friends. I grew up in the 13th arrondissement, which is one of the most diverse place in Paris. I grew up with people from everywhere. You cannot even imagine. This was never a question. And regarding diversity of this feature, first of all, I want to say that I picked those actors because they're amazing. They have such an amazing talent that it's, unbelievable. Then, yes, I take very good care to actually, have a representation of the diversity. And for me, this is very important. Umar Diao actually was my lead actor in my first short movie. This was in 2008. And as you can see, I love to work with actors that I know. I keep them with me. Donia, Eden, she was with me in a Lebanese feature that I produced in 2016. And again, she actually just came out from a very tough role for a big French TV show. And she was so happy when I called her because she wanted to actually play in a comedy, just to, something lighter. Benjamin Garnier, who is actually 1/4 Egyptian. I know him from elementary school. And then he's also in a very big French TV show. And I knew that from his education as like method acting, Lee Strasberg, he would be able to actually go completely, beyond that what we actually expected. And yeah, so keep in mind, yes, I always care about representation of diversity, but also those actors are absolutely fantastic.
It's great when those who are in obviously decision-making positions for creative projects are able to see all sides, that yes, you don't have to sacrifice major talent for a diverse cast. That's just like kind of how it is, right?
And I just want to state something is that, this was possible because I have amazing partners that I want to salute. Svetlana and Sergey, really, I have to thank them because they trusted me, because this movie was done completely out of the system in a really independent way. And you have to know something, and I can disclose this. So this movie was actually presented to some, big producers, etc. And some of them told me, well, you know what? Yeah, let's do it with a very big budget, but let's take, those actors that are like highly bankable, who are always the same people that you actually see in French movies. I said, you know what? Thank you, but no merci. I'm not doing this. Those are my actors. They are going to be the lead actors. So yeah. So, it was not even like a tough decision. Some people would say, oh yeah, absolutely. Let's go with those millions. Let's make the movie. No, I don't want to repeat the same thing all the time and having the same faces on cinema. It's tiring.
Right.
It's tiring for the audience,
right?
Especially when you have amazing actors who don't get enough jobs.
That is kind of true in France. Once they get their little set of like 5 to 10, you will see them again and again and again and again. And I mean, they're great, but you're like, what happened to all the rest of, the acting community, in France? That is kind of true. However, I feel like this film definitely has the pace, though, of anything you might see on, TF1 or anything like that. Sunday night, boom, here's that movie, or on Canal Plus,
I agree.
Or whatever, right? So that's why you're racking up the awards, Stevan, huh?
Yeah.
But like what else though? So it sounds like everything was cool. You have the perfect cast, you're getting all these awards, but I'm sure there had to be, just like in the film, a little bit of drama, right? So, let's go behind the scenes just a little bit. Did you have any kind of moments where you're like, oh no, maybe this isn't going to happen or anything like that?
Okay, so I will tell you, no, actually I knew that it would happen, but you have to know, I have, like, people say, oh yeah, and Stevan also produced it. I produced it because I had no choice. I had actually, I had producers who were on board 1 week or 2 weeks and they quit because they would tell me it's not possible. We can't make it happen. Shooting in Paris, going South France, how can we do that? And I was capable of that only because I've been working in the indie filmmaking in New York, in a very guerrilla filmmaking, and I learned a lot. It's really through my, I would say, American education and experience that actually, gave me this kind of, stoic resilience that I know things can happen when you actually, you have to be a good leader. You have to bring people of trust, your friends, even family. You have to know, first rule, if I can give a tip, never underestimate food on set. It's so, if you don't have money.
Never underestimate what?
Like meals and food.
Food on set.
I mean,
okay. Wait, don't tell me you were bribing your cast with food. No.
But I'm saying, it's some people, and I work with some filmmakers who don't understand this. Think that, you can just go with a pizza or call me. No, this is not happening. What I did, I asked my mother to come on set because she's an amazing cook.
No way.
Yeah.
But wait, how French is this though, right? It's just so stereotypically wonderfully French. Here's the main tip for filmmakers. Make sure you have good food. What else would a
Absolutely.
French filmmaker
Yes.
say? No, but that's
Absolutely.
true, huh? And I can imagine what you guys were eating. Good
Oh,
stuff.
absolutely. Very good stuff. French, Chinese, couscous. My mom, no, I'm just saying that this is a really good tip, and it's not to take it lightly. But I think that most of people know that. And yeah, I mean, look, it was hard. I cannot say, something else. First of all, we shot it in the end of September. I thought that the weather would be beautiful next to Perpignan. It was raining one every day or two. Imagine how to shift all the time, shooting interiors, and we can hear the drops on the
Oh,
roof.
no.
So, oh my God, it was it was driving me.
Wait, was this in the South?
Yeah. It was next
And
to.
the South has become so rainy now, right? I guess this is because of climate change or whatever. But when I was there, it was just starting, the floods were starting to happen in south of France.
Yeah.
Never happened before, early 2000s. And now it's kind of always like that, which is a shame.
Yeah, I agree. No, it's so you see, it was tough and it was cold. I'm just saying that things that I would take for granted because I said, okay, it's out of France, don't worry about it, we can manage that. No, and I mean, listen, some fun facts. At one point, I had 300 sheep next to us in a close border that I actually had to kick away, run after them because they were yelling, like sheep, really 300 sheep I have footage I can share with you of me running behind, say, go away. I mean, come on, I have to make this movie. So yeah, but again, I mean, listen, and also we wrapped 2 days before the second national lockdown. We were so lucky. I mean, we were oh my God, and we wrapped, and everybody was happy. I had a wonderful casting crew. Really, the crew, mainly I would say younger, who really were hungry to make a feature, because some, I would say older were a bit not in those conditions, not possible. I had an amazing team, and always I tell them, I thank them so much, and the cast. But again, for this, you really, and one day you can ask them, you really have to love your casting crew. You really have to be a leader in the sense that I would never ask a crew member to do something that I would not do. You see, I would be always the first one to basically, do something that it's heavy to carry, or show the example, in a sense, not to be a boss, say, okay, you should do that. No, I will do it. So, we are on the same page. We are equals. And in indie filmmaking, it is so essential to actually show the example. Because again, I was in other indie production where, the director or another producer would behave, not like a leader, and it really creates a lot of problem. So I think that in terms of leadership, one has to understand that to be a leader, it means to put yourself equal like everybody else, and don't ask somebody to do something that you would not do yourself, and you should do it first. So yeah.
I think that is a majorly good tip.
Yeah.
Anything else that you might want to add before we wrap up? Because I'm sure the cast and crew is even more happy that they collaborated with you with all these awards that you're racking up, right?
Yeah. So for now.
Only four.
Only four. Listen, I would say that be really prepared in pre-production. My entire shot list was given to everybody. Everybody knew what we were doing every day. Nothing was hidden in terms of budget. So people, I would say, for the casting crew, knew where the money was going. They had a shot list. Everything was transparent. So, and this really helped, because every day I didn't have to explain the shot list. Everything was done on paper, so we actually knew. And I think that when you want to do an indie movie, really, and I think that everybody said it, but I have to repeat it, you have to be prepared. You go to war, and you have to have a blueprint that is detailed from the beginning to the end. This is so important. You cannot improvise. Some people maybe are amazing in improvising, but I'm pretty sure that on set, you still have to explain everything to the crew, and you will still lose time. And this, I could not afford in 15 days of shooting. This was not possible. So yeah,
I think
but
that is just, part of obviously the key to your success. So yeah, I can't wait to see what you do next. I
Thank
know
you.
that you're going to be so well received there at Austin, and just keep doing your thing.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for everything.
Thank you so much for taking the time. You guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this discussion that I've had with Stevan. He is just as you can see, full of energy and very, just inspirational. So, we are bringing you these types of interviews like nobody else. This is Lauren deLisa Coleman for the Inside series. Thank you so much for watching film.io.